Mr. Trump, you're bringing a lot of new people into the Republican Party, but some people are saying they want to leave the Republican Party too. What's your message to those who want to leave? Is it good riddance?
Well, I think they shouldn't leave, and I think they should get together, and I think everybody should be unified. And frankly, we're building up numbers that are incredible within the Republican Party. You've been seeing whether it's South Carolina or New Hampshire. I mean, the numbers are astronomical, and I don't think they've ever seen anything like this, actually. And by the way, the Democrats are losing. The Democrats are going down 35, 40%, and we're going up 50%, a couple of states over 100%.
What do you make of the effort to try and take the nomination away from you, maybe even by going to the convention?
Well, I'm very surprised by it, and I'm very surprised to hear about a third party, because I'm going to appoint conservative judges, and a third party would mean that Hillary would win or whoever is going to be running. And you're going to have liberal judges, probably as many as 4 or even 5, if you can believe that, during this period of time. So a third party means absolutely they will have 4 or 5 very liberal judges appointed, as opposed to 4 or 5 very conservative judges. So I think it's really playing with fire.
They say they can't be in a party with you as the head of it.
Well, I don't understand that. I mean, I get along with people. I'm a unifier. I'm very much a unifier, and maybe people don't see that, but they will see that. And my relationship to people has been great over the years. But again, I'm new to politics. I've been doing this now for 7 months. I think I've done a very good job in 7 months, but we have a tremendous number of people coming in and a tremendous number of people showing up to vote. The lines in all of these states that I've won have been, record-setting.
Let me ask you about Unifier. In this very room, your big night on Super Tuesday, you said about Paul Ryan that you'd hope to get along with him, but if you didn't, quote, he's going to have to pay a big price. You also said about John McCain, he has to be very careful. How can you be a unifier when you're saying those kind of things about 2 Republican leaders?
Well, with Paul Ryan, I think he would pay a big price, because I think you'd really have a split party. I think you'd have a very split party, and he's done a good job on unified. I may be more conservative than him. I certainly am stronger on the border than him, but he's done a very good job. I was very much in favor of Paul Ryan, because I think he very much is a unifier. I mean, he was sort of chosen for that reason, I think.
A lot of people read that as a threat.
No, not a threat, not a threat. It's not a threat. I think I have a very strong group of people. If you look at the CNN poll that just came out, I'm at 49%, and second is 15, a couple of 15s, which is Rubio and Ted Cruz. So, that's a pretty big difference. That's a lot of people. They used to say when I got to 16, they'd say, oh, that's a cap. He's not going any higher. I mean, you played the game, too. You probably were saying it. And then I got to 21 and 20. Every time I got to a number, they'd say, oh, that's a cap. Now the last poll, and it's a very big poll, it's the CNN major poll, and I'm at 49 to 15. And I think, I think we have a lot of people.
Let me ask you about your position on torture. When you and I talked last week, you said that General Hayden was wrong when he said that the military wouldn't follow you on the question of waterboarding and on the killing of terrorist families. In the debate, you said, if I say do it, they're going to do it. You were talking about the military. Then on Friday, you said, I will not order our military to violate those laws.
Well, you never asked me about violating laws, in all fairness. You weren't talking about violating laws. I would say this, look, we have an enemy in the Middle East that's chopping off heads and drowning people in massive steel cages, okay? We have an enemy that doesn't play by the laws. You could say laws, and they're laughing. They're laughing at us right now. I would like to strengthen the laws so that we can better compete. It's very tough to beat enemies that don't have any restrictions, all right? We have these massive restrictions. Now, I will always abide by the law, but I would like to have the law expanded. I would like to I happen to think that when you're fighting an enemy that chops off heads, I happen to think that we should use something that's stronger than we have right now. Right now, basically, waterboarding is essentially not allowed, as I understand it.
And you'd like it to be if you could expand
I would certainly like it to be at a minimum, to allow that.
Why do you think we don't have those? Why do you think we don't have waterboarding?
Because I think we're weak. I think we become very weak and ineffective. I think that's why we're not beating ISIS. It's that mentality.
But you think people got rid of the law to be weak?
No, I think that we are weak. I think we're weak. We cannot beat ISIS. We should beat ISIS very quickly. General Patton would have had ISIS down in about 3 days. General Douglas MacArthur. We are playing by a different set of rules. Let me just put it differently. When the ISIS people chop off the heads and they then go back to their homes and they talk, and they hear we're talking about waterboarding like it's the worst thing in the world, and they've just drowned 100 people and chopped off 50 heads, they must think we are a little bit on the weak side.
The reason that the waterboarding was a number of reasons, but one of them was because the worry was that if America does that, then our soldiers, American hostages, will be treated even worse. That's the argument. What do you think of that argument?
They're doing that anyway. They're killing our soldiers when they capture them. I mean, they're doing that anyway. Now, if that were the case, in other words, we won't do it and you don't do it, but we're not playing by those rules. They're not, why, did somebody tell ISIS, look, we're going to treat your guys well. Would you please do us a favor and treat our guys well? They don't do that. We're not playing by, we are playing by rules, but they have no rules. It's very hard to win.
Isn't that what separates us from the savages?
No, I don't think so. No, we have to beat the savages.
And therefore throw all rules out?
We have to beat the savages.
By being savages?
No, well, look, you have to play the game the way they're playing the game. You're not going to win if we're soft and they have no rules. Now, I want to stay within the laws. I want to do all of that, but I think we have to increase the laws because the laws are not working. Obviously, all you have to do is take a look at what's going on, and they're getting worse. They're chopping, and we're worrying about waterboarding. I just think I think our priorities are mixed up.
Another topic. Paul Ryan this week said, quote, if a person wants to be the nominee of the Republican Party, there can be no evasion and no games. They must reject any group or cause that is built on bigotry. He was talking about you.
But I've rejected. How many times do I have to reject? I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. From the time I'm 5 years old, I rejected them. I put it on Twitter last week. How many times? You know, it's an amazing thing with Twitter. I have 6 million, more than 6 million, and I have another 6 million with Facebook. I have like 13 or almost 14 million with Instagram. When I put out a minor message, everybody picks it up. Donald Trump just tweeted something very unimportant. Let me just explain. When I put out that I reject KKK and David Duke, nobody picks it up. You know why they don't? Because they don't want to pick it up. They pick it up. You pick it up. Everyone else picks it up. You saw simultaneously, practically at the same time. They don't want to pick it up. Now, I have been asked this question so many times. I have rejected it so many times. In fact,
what did you think about Ryan saying that, though? That's, I guess, my question.
I don't know. Well, don't forget, he's getting a lot of his information from you guys. So when I tweet about a rejection, almost right after that show ended, because maybe I wasn't clear or something. I mean, how many times do I have to say it? Don't forget, I told CNN when Chris Christie endorsed me, a very good endorsement, and one of the questions, that question was asked, and I rejected it there. That news conference was like a day before.
You said, I disavow.
I said to myself, how many times do I have to reject or disavow?
Let me ask you this question. What about David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it. I can't help if he says it, but I don't want it, and if he says it, John, if he says it, okay? Do I want it? No.
And you don't want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate. Hate groups are not for me. But I've said this before. The press hates me to say it. They just don't want to pick it up, and that's okay.
Well, the thought was,
that's
and
the way it goes.
I talked to politicians who heard your answer, and they thought, well, he's being kind of vague because he wants the votes.
No, but they were asking, when he asked me the original question, because I looked at it, he was talking about groups or something. In other words, various groups. I said, who are the groups?
Well, he did say the KKK.
No, wait, excuse me. But he talked about various groups. Now, within those groups, you talk about discrimination, and there could be there could be the Federation of Jewish Philanthropies. I don't know. What groups is he talking about? So I said, could you give me a list of the groups or something to that effect? But I have been so strong in disavowing, and I just keep getting the question, and now even you are asking the question again. And I say to myself, how many times am I going to be answering this question?
Let me ask you a question about Trump University. The question the Attorney General is asking is, when the course was pitched, it was pitched as Donald Trump is going to pick the instructors. And in your deposition, you said that you didn't pick the instructors, but on Fox News last Sunday, it sounded like you did say you picked the instructor. What's the deal with that?
I picked a lot of top people, and they picked the instructors. And we got a very, most of these people, look, they just want to see if they can get their money back, okay? Most of these people were happy with the course. And by the way, during the debate, when they were talking about the D from Better Business, I handed them, I called, and one of my people said, see if you can get the certificate. We had an A. I gave it to Fox, and they didn't put it on the show. Okay,
So
you
you've been
probably read
upgraded.
that. I think there was an article that Trump actually had an A from the Better Business Bureau. And we have about a 90, something like that, about a 98% approval rating from people that took the course. In other words, people that are suing me have given us affidavits, like we call them report cards, saying how great this was. So we're going to find out. I mean, look, here's the thing. I could have settled this case. It's a civil case. I could have settled it. I could have settled it, I think, pretty easy. I don't like settling cases. When you settle cases, everybody sues you.
You're thinking a little bit more about the general election. In December of last year, you said, talking about Hillary Clinton, you said, "We view this as war." And then you asked the audience, don't we view this as war? Do you still view an election campaign against Hillary Clinton as war?
A little bit, yeah. Now, look, it's highly competitive. The last person she wants to run against is me. I can tell you that. I know that. And, you know, it was sort of interesting. One of your competitors said, "I know that Hillary Clinton wants to run against Donald Trump." And I called him. I said, "Listen, here's the story. If they say they want to run against me, that means they don't want to run against me. Do you understand that? Because that's the way it's like a game of chess. But I know for a fact, and you know for a fact, the last person she wants to run against is me. I've won numerous polls against Hillary, and I haven't even started on Hillary. I only had one brief moment 4 weeks ago. And because of that moment, Hillary went way, way down, and Bernie got credit for it. They said he was running a great campaign. Had she not given me that moment with her and Bill, Bernie would not be nearly as close. Now, Bernie's not going to win, okay, anyway. But she went way down in that period of time. And the last person she wants to run against is me, and I will tell you, I will beat her. And I beat her in a lot of polls, as you know, but people don't say that.
All right, Mr. Trump, we're going to have to leave it there. We've run out of time. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.